Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. I want to do a super quick video about Andrej Karpathy leaving OpenAI. If you hear some noise in the background, there are folks that are renovating our basement right now, finally, after 8 months. There you go. Speaking of, but anyway, I just want to touch on this real quick and just sort of go over the facts, which is basically this post from Andrej Karpathy. And then, we can speculate a little bit. If you don't know, Andrej was part of the founding group of people that created OpenAI. And then, of course, he moved over to Tesla and worked there very famously as head of their full self-driving AI group. And then, of course, he took some time off, and then he went back to OpenAI approximately a year ago, just about a year ago. Anyway, so after 1 year, we get this post from Andrej from yesterday, last night. Hi, everyone. Yes, I left OpenAI yesterday, and that's in reference to some exclusive articles that had popped up. First of all, nothing happened, and it's not the result of any particular event, issue, or drama, but please keep the conspiracy theories coming as they are highly entertaining. So good for everybody with the conspiracy theories. Actually, being at OpenAI over the last approximate year has been really great. The team is really strong, the people are wonderful, and the roadmap is very exciting. And I think we all have a lot to look forward to. My immediate plan is to work on my personal projects and see what happens. Those of you who followed me for a while may have a sense for what that might look like. Wink, cheers. And then somebody underneath, Darshil, asked, does that mean more YouTube videos coming? And Andrej said, I started the next one 2 days ago. So he may have been a couple of days out of OpenAI before this announcement. Anyway, he's been very quiet on the OpenAI front for the past, month or so. And regardless of the, quote, trauma, nothing happening, anything like that, there was an awful lot of stuff that happened with OpenAI, Sam Altman. You can look it up if you're interested. If you don't know what's been going on, a lot of stuff had been going on around the Thanksgiving time frame. So back at the end of November, and that probably created some issues. But anyway, regardless, Andrej also left Tesla on very, very good terms with Elon Musk a couple of years ago. And, he took a sabbatical first, and then he left Tesla and he went on and did his thing. Sorry about all this banging around. They're working on molding right now. So that's what we're getting right now. Anyway, I very quickly wanted to touch on this just because I thought it was kind of funny and ironic. Brett Adcock, just before this, actually said, I often see resumes where somebody's worked at 6 companies over the last 10 years. I'm staring at one right now. These job hoppers usually last a little under 2 years per company on average. And if somebody has a jumpy resume, it's the first thing I notice. It's so blatant to me, yet it continues to fool a lot of people. Thinking back over 15 years at my companies. So anyway, he says he's hired a lot of people, and that quick job hopping is a bad thing. Of course, people started poking fun at the fact that Andrej had just left OpenAI after just a year, but very, very different circumstances, of course, and very, very different resume. I'm sure that Brett would be very happy to hire Andrej. Speaking of which, we will now turn from facts to speculation. Of course, the big speculation is that Elon is going to say, please come with me and work with me again at Tesla, is what most people think that he would go to. I actually personally don't think that Andrej is going to go back to any of these companies. I think if he does another one, it will probably be a research-based startup that he will actually be in charge of, and it will be his own thing. That would just be my guess. But if he did go back, I would honestly say that I think he would go back to XAI before he would go back to Tesla, because it seems to fit his personal, his interests a little bit more. He was working on at OpenAI a project called Jarvis, which was supposed to be like the Iron Man version of Jarvis, which was like an assistant that was a full-fledged assistant, potentially even embodied. One never knows, because Jarvis, of course, did have at first a virtual body, then a real body. That was very complicated in the MCU, but it is possible that OpenAI has been talking about creating embodied AI as well. And if you haven't seen my awesome chat with Scott and Suzanne Gildert from Sanctuary AI, you should definitely check that out. Put that up there, put it at the end of the video, and a link at the bottom so you can check that out. It's a really excellent interview. I'm sure you will enjoy it. But anyway, she is all about how embodied AI, how robots are going to be important to get us to artificial general intelligence. So anyway, the speculation would be that Andrej might return to a larger company. I just don't know. I mean, there's really not that many players that would interest him at this point. Clearly, he's probably got enough money to retire on. I mean, I don't know what his personal finances are, but having worked at Tesla and OpenAI, I'm sure he is worth a reasonable amount of money and probably never needs to work another day in his life, but he loves to do this kind of stuff. So he could just go into the educational space and continue working like that. But in terms of big companies that would really warrant him working for them, it would kind of be Google, Meta, Tesla, OpenAI, except not them anymore, or like XAI or X or something something like that. There's not that many more companies out there that are big enough to really pull someone like him. So I have a feeling that if he's going to start working publicly again and not just do things altruistically, in other words, create videos that he just releases for free that are highly instructive. I mean, I was very sad when he actually went to work back at OpenAI because he had been doing a whole bunch of creating natural language processors, chatbots, things like that. He was teaching us how to do that, and it was actually excellent. I went through all of those videos, really enjoyed them and learned a ton from it. And also he's just really good at programming. So I learned a bunch of tricks about programming that I did not know before because he's just way better than I am at that. So anyway, it's excellent news to see that he's saying I started another video 2 days ago. That's like really good. So thank you, Andrej. And hopefully those will continue on. He may take another 6 months or a year or something like that and just do things like that. I get the feeling, though, that Andrej is the kind of person that likes to produce things and he likes to produce usable stuff. Like, he's mostly a researcher, but he's a researcher that likes to produce actual user type of things, not just something that is really cool in the lab and nobody ever sees. So I have a feeling that he will probably eventually go back to work in a company again. But again, total speculation. My speculation is he would probably create something himself or join a very small startup where he could be massively influential, not go to work at a large company because it just seems to not gel with his personality particularly well. We will see what happens. I have no idea. Like I said, this part is all speculation. But again, he has confirmed that he left. It was approximately 1 year that he was at OpenAI. I don't recall the exact date that he officially started working for them. But, it sounds like relatively good terms that he has left. Their question, of course, becomes what does OpenAI do now that Andrej has left? There's a lot of instability at the top of OpenAI now that didn't used to be there 3 months ago, prior to the whole Sam Altman being kicked out and then reinstituted back into OpenAI again. Before that whole thing, it was a much more stable company and it seemed like everything was going well. I don't know what's happening right now. Clearly, Sam Altman is still out doing lots and lots of interviews, and I heard he's going to try to raise multiple trillions of dollars with a T. So he's asking for a massive valuation for the company and to try to raise a huge amount of money to try to get to AGI very quickly. That is clearly his goal. And if anybody can do it, in terms of raising the money and stuff like that, I don't know who can do it in terms of actually getting to AGI. But in terms of raising that kind of money, Sam Altman would be the guy to do that. So, that's the kind of stuff that's moving forward, but it can't be to the good for OpenAI to lose such a high profile person. Number one, because it's high profile, but number two, because it's a really big detriment to their ability to do work. They don't have that many scientists, they're engineers, they're working on this stuff. So, losing somebody like Andrej, who's at the top of his game, is going to be a blow to the company. Obviously, they can hire whoever they want because they're going to have a lot of cachet and get people that are interested, so they can work that direction, but it still is going to hurt. And of course, the public perception is that this is a defection from the company. So Andrej is going to be fine. Not a problem with him at all. He's going to do what he wants to do, and I'm really looking forward to finding out what that is that he wants to do. As far as OpenAI is concerned, this is definitely a ding and a bit of a bloody nose. And people talk about how closed source things like ChatGPT are only about 6 months ahead of generative pre-trained transformers that are publicly available, open source versions of that. So that's not a big lead time, and it's something that OpenAI is really going to have to look into. A lot of people think that Altman is looking at building, computer chips and potentially robots, etc., in order to create more of a moat for OpenAI so that other people can't compete as directly with them. I would not be surprised to hear this actually being, revealed as truth over time, but at this point we don't know. Anyway, I would be very interested to know what you all think about Andrej leaving OpenAI, both for Andrej and also for OpenAI and for the field of AI at large. There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of turmoil going on right now. So definitely let me know what you think. And in the meantime, everybody have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.